Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's your girl, Miss Anna Little Cole. I'm coming to you straight out of NYC on this really sunny, kind of warmer than it was on Friday afternoon, this Sunday. Now, I really was thinking really hard about whether I should do a commentary on this topic, not just involving Tasha K, but all YouTubers, all right? And the reason why I did hesitate at first, because I don't like to talk about money when it comes to individuals, okay? And I'm gonna go into it more. Meaning that I don't like to talk about people's finances or how something can affect people's finances. I personally worked in the finance industry for 6 months, okay? And I can tell you that when it involves money, money is the most sensitive thing in the world besides a person's health. I would say people are more protective of their money than their health, from what I've witnessed, okay? I never worked in the healthcare industry, but I can tell you that people are quick to talk about their health than to talk about their money, okay? Whether they have a lot of it or a little bit. But reason why I'm going to talk about the situation, because I want to put everybody on notice who have accounts, not just with YouTube, but with other social media sites. Whether you have a Spreaker account, whether you have an Anchor account, whether you're on Spotify, whether you're on Twitter, whether you're on Instagram, Facebook, particularly if you're monetized on all those apps, you really, really want to sit down and listen to this. And if you're interested in becoming a content creator and a blogger, not just a vlogger, uploading videos, but also a blogger, you want to create a site, you need to hear what I'm about to say. So I mentioned Tasha K. And I mentioned Tasha K because Tasha K is going to be the representative of the change that is going to come. She's going to be the poster child of this, okay? And what I mean by that is this case involving her and Cardi-B is going to set a precedent, not just to where you can't speak about anyone in terms of libel and in terms of slander. But anything that a person, it could be a famous individual, it could be a non-famous individual. If somebody feels that your speech and what you're saying is going to cause them harm, whether it's physical, mental, representation, defamation, libel, harm to themselves, they can not only flag your channel, but they can basically cause you to not make any money on any site whatsoever. And it's not just YouTube. YouTube is going to be the start of it, all right? Tasha K, I think everyone, in my opinion, should not just boycott Tasha K for what she did, but I think people need to literally leave Tasha K alone in terms of just supporting her in general. Because Tasha K is literally messing with people's money as I speak. I was on a person's YouTube channel this afternoon, okay? I kid you not. This person has been on YouTube way before Tasha K. Doesn't even have 20,000 subs, all right? Now, in their circle, they are popular. In their clique. They do have supporters. They get quite a few views. But what happens is her channel is not kid friendly, and she lets it be known. And what happened is that they're basically pulling her videos. They're trying to pull videos, okay, of hers. So she got basically a notice like this video is not YouTuber friendly. It's not family friendly. Now she's always let it be known. I am not a kid-friendly channel. My channel is not for kids. It's for adults. It's adult-oriented. I curse a lot. I use certain language, and I talk about topics that's not for children. Up until last week, there was never a problem. Now, they're basically trying to pull video content to where, okay, if you want to be monetized, you can't have this on your channel. It's not even like, whereas last year, okay, we'll monetize this video. We won't monetize that video. We'll monetize it to a point, but we won't touch your content as long as it hasn't been flagged and people haven't reported it. Now, it's like, if you want to be monetized, we're snatching certain things that we feel is not friendly to YouTube, even though it belongs to the creator, the channel, the person who owns the channel. So what she was basically saying is that she had to privatize all the videos that YouTube, Google has deemed to not be advertiser friendly because it's offensive to a group of people, it's offensive language in general, or it's just not advertiser friendly at all. Now, peep game. If you notice, pre-trial with Cardi-B and Tasha K, this wasn't really going on like this. Now, everybody is pretty much coming out the woodwork. And the YouTuber is Kimberly Fraser, all right? So this person basically has to privatize all her videos. And she showed it to where it's like, you could see the dollar sign is light brown. So where it's like, okay, it's limited. Like, you'll get some money, but you won't get all the advertisers' money that you'll normally get. They're doing this to everybody. Now, it may not be going on right now, but they're going to come for everyone's content who is monetized. And this is the Tasha K effect. And I'm going to coin this the Tasha K effect. I'm not going to say it's Cardi B because Cardi B did not do this. Cardi B was a victim of this whole standard thing by Tasha K. Tasha K is fucking it up for every single one of y'all. And anybody who's still a wino now, you's a damn fool. I'm sorry. Because if Storm Monroe, who was basically riding her coattails for years, because he was the mentee, who was only the mentee to basically be a slap in the face to Ahmaud Wiggins, he basically canceled her and they had a falling out. She accused him of doing the powder and he basically was yelled at her and almost came off threatening. He cut ties with her. So if Storm Monroe, who did all her dirty work, collaborated with her on slandering people, how they treated Jaguar Wright was disgusting. He turned on Jaguar Wright for Tasha K, by the way, because he was cool with Jaguar. He did all her dirty work. If he's cutting ties with her and don't want nothing to do with her, now you know she's sinking. People are leaving her because they're trying to protect their money and their brand, but especially their money. Okay? But here's this bad thing about it. It's too late. Because if people would have said something and not been trying to be like, oh, you know, I want to be down with Tasha K this, I want to be down with Tasha K that, because they got so caught up in the hype that this woman could basically help their channel. And the reason why they got involved in the hype is because if you've been following my channel and been listening to my Tasha K uploads going back to 2018, Tasha K is not a homegrown grassroots YouTuber. Tasha K was pushed through the algorithm through connections with a company that was basically sponsoring her and invested in her brand. They've been working with her since 2013 when she used to do radio on lifestyles and she had a show called Health and Wealth. And the person, basically, she works for them. She's not just an independent person. Yes, cardi-b Studios is a legitimate company, but they only created cardi-b Studios to basically protect the brand in terms of having the videos out and to get the interviews. The husband was basically the middleman. Tasha K is the face of Unwound Tasha K. But when it comes to cardi-b Studios, she's not the face of that. That was her husband. They had a whole team of people who were industry connections. Some of them have been working with other people. One of the women had worked with Jason Jason Lee from Hollywood Unlocked, okay, and Love and Hip Hop. She had a team of people. That's how come she was getting entertainers and reality TV to sit down with her, and even veterans like Kwame Brown. You know, she was able to get him. She was able to get the lady Arion, who else? She was able to get there's a lot of people she was able to get. Now, they weren't A-list people, but they were connected to A-list people. She got Kanye West's mother's friend, and she got Kanye West's mother's friend, who talked about the man she was dating, which drove her to get the plastic surgery. Okay? So she was able to connect with people. And come on now. How was she able to do that? She had to have some kind of connection. That connection was through Kiwi Studios. Her husband was the face of that. But there was people that worked within Kiwi Studios who was the middleman between her husband and that company of investors. Those investors basically are connected to the social media industry. So when you say somebody was pushed through the algorithm, when it came to Tasha K was pushed through the algorithm because she had inside connections, okay? That's why she was able to do this shit for as long as she did. That's why she was never reprimanded. That's why her channel was never pulled. All the stuff that she did constituted her channel to be erased. Going back to, I would say, late 2018, all right? Her channel should never got to 1 million. But when you have connections, and when you're basically, it's not about just favoritism, but when you're working for people who got money invested in you, and those people are basically the middle between the big people that's pushing the algorithm. Yeah, I said it because this is something that had been posted going back to 2018. This is how Tasha K got big. You got people that's been on YouTube for years. Bondy Blue, okay? Bondy Blue has yet to have 100K. She's a Tasha K fan, but here's my thing. She should be your fan because you was on there before Tasha K. You was on there going back to 2012, 2013. Because I remember I used to watch all your reviews that spring of 13. And to me, she's one of the best YouTubers out there when it comes to that. All right. You have Ashley Miller. Ashley Miller, I believe now has about 75K subs. I could be miscounting on that. But these are people that's been in the game for years. They busted their ass and worked hard to get pushed through the algorithm. And they never got pushed through the algorithm as Tasha K did, okay? And Tasha K got pushed because the investors that she was working for, the people, the company, and it's a white man, all right? And I had said this before the news had even broke in the fall of 18. She always had to get a huge interview because if she didn't get a huge interview, it would cost her investors and they would pull out of supporting her brand, which means that she wouldn't make the money for them, which means that she wouldn't get the push for YouTube. Now, the whole goal of her being on YouTube was to go into the mainstream and to be like a Wendy Williams. One moment, I'll be right back. All right. Yeah, I had to take care of something real quick. So anyway, as I was saying, Tasha K, the investors, helps to push her through the algorithm, okay? And if you were watching Tasha K, and I know I've been saying this a lot, but I repeat this because I really want people to learn that the game, a lot of times, is, I hate to say it, a lot of times, it's not that it's rigged, but you got to have the right people that's going to help you along to win. That's just what it is. Okay? And Tasha K had that. Now, I watched Tasha K going back to the summer of 16. Okay? She had been on YouTube going as far back as the latter winter of 16, okay? And out the gate, she was getting a lot of views. And she had subs, a lot of subs. Like when I first encountered Tasha K's channel, Tasha K had about 20, I would say 25, I would say she had about 40K subs, all right? Because her content was very much comedic. It was interactive. She would do spoofs. Like the what really pushed her through the first time was she did a spoof on Janet Jackson, giving birth, carrying her son. Then the African wedding where the mistress had crashed the wedding. That really did it as well. Those two videos basically garnered her a lot of views to where her subscriber count had went over to 100K. But that was also done with the help of people in the background who was connected with people within YouTube, okay? So Tasha K then switched from doing sketches and comedy and just talking about like an everyday life. Then she did a commentary on Tokyo Tony. Tokyo Tony had dissed her and called her a Woody Woodpecker bee. So she calls her a crackhead bitch. That's what she calls her. And it was an epic read. That helped to push her through the algorithm. But then her investors wanted her, and I want to say this, I'm going to look up the name of the investors because the investors were the people that basically she mentioned them. Okay, and she mentioned the man's name. Okay, so the investors started wanting her to interview people who were in the industry or connected to those in the industry to really much get her name out there so that she could be a top YouTuber and to be on the level of the likes of, not Layla Lynn. Layla Lynn was still new. Lovely T. Because Lovely T at that time had about 370K subs. Okay? Phil from The Advice Show. People like For the Love of Juice. Okay? It's for rocks. They wanted her to also be like Candy Coated. Not Candy from Housewives of Atlanta, but another Candy who used to do showcases. They wanted her to be on that level. They wanted her to be able to garner high profile interviews. Hold on for a second. This orange juice is good. Sorry about that. I had to get my juice in. So anyway, she needed to get an interview. And she was trying to get a high profile interview for months. And nobody was connecting with her because even though she was popping on YouTube, she wasn't known in the entertainment world. And she was still new. She had been on YouTube for a year. So she comes along and finds the whole thing that deals with Steve Harvey and Mary Harvey in terms of him not properly divorcing her and being an alleged bigamist to Marjorie. So the background on that, because I'm dropping tea now. The background on that story is that back in 2013, there was a show coming on that was supposed to be in pre-production. And the name of the title, I might be misquoting it. It was Widows, Exes, and Ex-Wives of Hollywood. So women who were widows and women who had divorced Hollywood men in the business were basically going to be on the show. So Essie Berry, shout out to Essie Berry, who is the widow of Fred Rerun Berry from What's Happening. One of my favorite shows growing up, even though it came out way before I was born. Anyway, she had put together the idea to basically reach out to Mary Harvey because she was an ex and the divorce was high profile, particularly in the Black community. So when she finally got to meet her, she told her, I can't be on the show because I have a gag order that Steve put on me. So I can't talk about anything in relation to the divorce. So when she met her, she basically spoke to her and stuff. And then when she did research, she basically like, hold up. How you going to use his attorneys to represent you in a divorce decree? It don't make sense. Come to find out, they played her. So in reality, let's just say the shit wasn't legit. That's all I'm saying, because Mr. Harvey is a powerful man from what I've learned these past couple of years. And what they doing to Essie Berry is fucked up. But that's a powerful ass dude. That's all I'm gonna say. He got power behind him. So anyway, back to the Tasha K thing, and why I'm bringing this up is because this was the very first exclusive interview that Tasha K got. And she begged Essie Berry. I mean, she begged her. She was like, I need this interview. And she said to her, okay, I need this interview because of the people that are invested in my channel. If I don't get this interview, I will not be able to crack the 200K sub mark. So I have to be able to get this interview. Now, pause. If Tasha K was a grassroots blogger, meaning that she created this all on her own, if Tasha K basically was an independent journalist and didn't answer to nobody, why would she have to get this interview to be able to get the 200K subs? Otherwise, she would be, quote unquote, in trouble with the investors. I thought all YouTubers basically did stuff on their own. I thought all of us basically was grinding on our own to get to the top. Regardless of how much we wanted to be at the top, whether we wanted to be in the 50K club, 100K club, million club, heck, even the 10K club. I'm just keeping it a bean. That, to me, raised my antennas, but it also kind of had Mrs. Berry on notice because, kind of perplexed. It's like, why you need me to crack 200K? That's kind of weird because YouTube is independent. We all run this on our own accord. So she did get the interview. Essie Berry gave it to her, and it was a really good interview. It was really good. And she did get the 200K subs from that. Actually, she ended up getting about 220K, and this was around March, April of 2017. Now, this is before the wilding out era coming into the summer of 18. 2017, Tasha K was still on her behaving because I was still watching Tasha K. I had no issues with Tasha K. I thought she was cool. But even I kind of thought it was a little weird when I heard that. And when she would be like, yeah, we got it to 200K mark. And she was pushed and pushed and pushed. But she had a connection. Okay. And I'm saying this because many people think that the algorithm is just like this computer generated thing to where they'll see a video and they'll push you. Okay. Yes, that is true to a point. They'll push a video based on how well your last videos has been received. For instance, I just started a new channel. The first couple of videos are never going to be pushed. I'm just going to keep it real. But what happens is once you develop a steady stream of viewership for each of those videos, you'll do a video on a hot button subject. Or if you're doing reviews on a show that's hot for the moment, particularly a particular episode that can be controversial or can be, highly rated. The algorithm will catch it based on the viewership of your previous videos and clicks. And they will basically be like, okay, we'll push it out because we know that it's going to generate more views, which then in turn, when that channel becomes monetized, they will be able to make a lot of money from it. So that's the algorithm that people are talking about, the electronic one. When it comes to Tasha K, what I mentioned is a whole different algorithm. This is an algorithm that is basically manipulated by human beings, okay? This is the one that is basically involving people who are cool with people from the inside of the YouTube community, all right? The people that work for that work and push those who are big and have the power to do so. Okay, so there's two different algorithms. The one that I previously mentioned, that's the computer generated one, because people was mentioning Hassan Campbell, and that is true. Hassan Campbell did get pushed by the algorithm, but he got pushed because he was conscious. His thing was infamous because of African Bambaataa, a hip hop legend, and because, i.e., Bambaataa's a black man who has been accused of messing with little boys, and many people believe it. It got pushed. So it's like, oh, so we got the Cosby thing now. We got something in hip hop, so we gonna push it, and it benefited Hassan. But check this shit out too. Hassan is actually not making not just the money, but he's not getting the viewership that he used to get, because I went on his page yesterday and I saw it for myself. Usually when he do a live, within a week, he'll get close to the amount of subscribers that he has. He's only getting a third of the count of his subscribers. So his videos have been like 115K from his 372K. He is right when it comes to the whole algorithm thing. He is losing. That's not even nowhere near to his count, because that's not even a third, because with 372, a third of his subscribers would be 124. So he's right. He's not making the money and he's not getting the views. But that's the Tasha K effect, because he's another one that goes around and you talking about all these entertainers, you're accusing them of things, and you can't do that. You can't say that shit. All right? Now, going back to Tasha K. She got pushed through Essie. If it was for Essie Berry, that thing would never happen, which would never have her to be able to get other interviews. Remember, she was trying to get the whole Jessica Reed thing. That's when people saw her different, including myself, because she, at one time, was slandering this woman. But then she realized, oh, let me go back on what I believe. And now she sticks with the story that Jessica Reed wasn't lying. But that was when I was done with her. I was done with her from that point on, and I discontinued my subscribing of her. And this is before the whole Star Marie cardi-b thing. But then when that thing happened, that was just worse and disgusting. But this is how Tasha came to be. And to sum it all up, I'm gonna say some more things about it. YouTube could have stopped this. I blame YouTube. I blame Google for this. YouTube and Google, the people that work there, they could have told those people that was investing in her brand, listen, we know Tasha K's name rings bells. It brings money to YouTube, because it really was. That's why it was allowed. That's why the slander of cardi-b, the bullying of Lovely T, other YouTubers, smaller YouTubers, was allowed. And the way she treated Sweet Martha Life was deplorable. I feel that Sweet Martha Life, in my opinion, got it just as bad as Cardi B, because she involved children, her child into that. Okay, and if I was Sweet Martha, I would file legal papers on her to pay me all the money that she did when she was talking about me. And what really put the ice on the cake was how she slandered Jaguar Wright. When it came to Cardi B, she didn't go to Cardi B's family, but she went to Tasha K's family. To Jaguar Wright's family. And that's when everybody was like, this woman is really deplorably evil. Okay? But YouTube allowed her to be pushed to the algorithm when it came to the Derek Jackson scandal. Okay? So I blame YouTube for this fiasco when it came to Tasha K. Because yes, Tasha K is a grown woman. Yes, Tasha K is wrong. I'm not excluding her for what she did. She should be boycotted, and she should have to pay Cardi a lot of money for that slander, and she should be held to task for that. But YouTube allowed it. Whereas other people who was not connected like Tasha K, they were held to the fire. They had their channels lost, and they didn't do stuff nowhere near Tasha K. Okay? There were people in the same realm as the other YouTuber I mentioned. The stuff that he was doing. He still never had his channel pulled yet. Because you know why? Because when it comes to him, his topic was self-serving for the mainstream audience because he was talking bad about black men and black people. So whoever is working in the YouTube arena is a person that does not like black people. So that's why he was allowed to still continue with his nonsense, okay? Now, yes, Tommy Sotomayor has had his channels pulled many times because the thing with him is that he talks about black women bad. So even when you talk about black women, to a point, you still get held to the fire. But talk about black men horrible, or talk about the race as a whole, when it's inclusive with black men, you don't get punished. So that's why Hassan is still around. Okay? That's why you got the Cynthia G's. And you want to know what's funny? Even though Hassan and Tasha K never worked together and stuff like that, he's always giving her shout outs. Tasha K and Cynthia G, they've collaborated on interviews in terms of like, you know, they've gone on each other's, like, she's gone on their shows a lot and given like commentary and talked about different topics, okay? Her and she's talked with Nala G. They're cool with her. And because of it, it has benefited Cynthia G. She got 90K. I think she got 98K subs, you know? So this thing with grouping with Tasha K has been official. So don't think Tasha K is not anti-black men. What it is that she's anti-black American men, because she mentioned that with Kevin Samuels, that they wasn't treating her right. And that's another thing that had her built up with the whole cardi-b, I'm going to go after her and slander her because she's married to a black American man. And those are the men that mistreated her, they did not want her, and they abused her. Now, another thing that I want to say, because I am long-winded, Tasha K was the worst thing to come to YouTube. Okay? Because even though her antics did get people money, whose channels were monetized, in the long run, people are losing money now because of the rules. Because of this woman, everything is going to be scrutinized. You're not going to be able to get paid for for uploads that you have vulgarity on. Okay? When this channel becomes monetized, because I neglected it, when this channel becomes monetized, most of my videos are not going to be, it's not going to be monetized. I've already put 2 of my videos on three of them on privatization because I know that they will be pulled. And I'm funny about things. I don't like nobody touching my stuff. Okay? You ain't got to pay me for it, but don't pull it and just destroy it, especially when I don't have the audio to back it up anymore. I don't have those files. If I had those files and they pulled it, I wouldn't give a shit. I'll be honest with you, because I could always upload it. But I don't have the files anymore, so don't touch my shit. So I'm protecting myself, and I've been doing it for over a year where I keep certain things private because I saw that YouTube was going to a different lane. But the money is getting smaller because of her antics, because they're not paying, because YouTube does not want to be caught up in libel suits, because they knew about this lawsuit going back to March of 3 years ago, because Cardi filed the papers on March 21st. Okay? March 21st of 19. She filed the papers. Okay? So they knew this was coming. So to protect themselves, they had to be like, okay, just in case we get disposed, Google and YouTube, we got to make sure that our ducks are in a row. So we got to show where we're not allowing certain things to be going on. We're plugging channels. And I do believe that YouTube allowed the shenanigans to go on because it was profitable. Okay? It was beneficial to them. It was money coming in, but I don't think they liked her. I don't think they like her at all. I don't think they like the woman at all. Okay? And then you have the retired prison officer, and the whole R. Kelly thing is facing the FBI probe for leaking private information. And R. Kelly's legal team can get the whole conviction thrown out because of that one technicality. They can get that whole conviction thrown out. This is how far deep the rabbit hole goes with this woman's messiness. Okay. And the problem is a lot of women, particularly, I hate to say it, a lot of older black women who's like in that little group of her wino fan base that enjoys the fuckery and the bullying. You all are loving this shit and y'all don't see the repercussions of this. This orange mango is real good. I'm thirsty. I'm sorry. I had to just get that drink. And y'all not even seeing it. And y'all think it's cute because, believe it or not, y'all was enjoying it because she was doing y'all bidding, and it was like subliminal. Y'all was vicariously living through Tasha K's messiness. And I just want to end it off by saying this. It's a learning lesson for all of us, because if you see what's been going on the last week, people are peeping game. And they're seeing like, oh, look at what Tasha K got herself in with the whole cardi-b. She's in court. Going to have to pay this woman for life. Because I don't care what nobody say. I think that she's going to have to pay her a couple of millions. I'm going to say 3. That's just how I feel. But that channel, all that AdSense money, let me tell you what's going to happen. They're going to have all of her videos go through the roof with the views. Okay? Because Cardi B is a true Libra. She took her to court. And if you know the sign of Libra, Libra represents the law and justice, okay? That's what the scale, that's why it's a scale, the balance. That's why the justice symbol, Lady Justice, she had that scale. Cardi B is the kind of person that she would take Google to court. Okay? She would take Google to court. Now, peep game on this shit. They gonna make all them videos go up so that Cardi B could get her money. And then you know what they'll do? Once Cardi B is paid in full, that channel will be shut down. Now, she may be banned from YouTube, or they may let her be on YouTube and have us all over. But I think that Tasha K is going to lose that channel, but she will be boycotted from YouTube. And she will go on to do her own thing on her own website. And if she was to come back years later, she'll probably do a Health for Wealth, revamp her whole image, like in that movie She Devil with Meryl Streep and Roseanne Barr in the end when she was doing the book signing and everything, and how she was acting real classy and natural, and she got rid of Roseanne Barr's ex-husband. Yeah, she gonna pull one of them stunts. Yeah, she'll come back years later. But I personally believe that the Unwild with Tasha K brand, like I said on my channel Friday night, is done. The Tasha K Wino brand is done. It's done. And if you notice, she ain't uploaded anything. She ain't really uploading anything. Okay? On her main channel. And also, too, people are wising up. People don't want to be involved in mess anymore. People ain't talking about Hassan Campbell. Notice how, without talking about Hassan Campbell don't get pushed. He don't even get pushed through the algorithm like that on his other videos. Between Tasha K and nobody talking about him. And when I mean Tasha K, I mean like the Tasha K effect and the whole Cardi B crowd. And not talking about him, he doesn't get pushed through. He's not getting pushed through. The computer is not picking up on him. It's not picking up. And I'm just going to end it with that. And the Tasha K, I'm trying to figure out the name because